Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and following the COVID precautions. So, today we will start microbes in household products, how they are useful in our household product. But before starting a new topic, I would like you to join the Zoom session conducted by your teacher daily, because the teacher have to mark the attendance according to that. Okay. And please follow the COVID instructions. Stay safe, be healthy, don't go outside, stay at home. Okay. So let's start. So one of these is curdling of milk. The curd is actually prepared from milk. And how this conversion of milk take place into a curd, the major role is played by the microbes. All type of baking products, they are also microbes play a very important role. Cheese formation, we all often use cheese in our food items, so these cheese also prepared by the action of microbes. Pickles which are stored and preserved for a long time, they also made up of the microorganisms play a role prepared by the role of microorganisms. So we are going to discuss about which of these and what role exactly is played by the microbes in each of these products. So let us first talk about curd. So how is a microbe play an important role in curd formation? So curd contains a bacteria called lactobacillus, and this bacteria is always present in the curd. So next time whenever you eat curd or see curd, always remember that there is a bacteria called lactobacillus present in it. So it makes the curd poisonous? Not at all. So what happens when we eat curd? Do we fall ill? But the bacteria, because bacteria is already there, why we didn't fall ill? Because the bacteria which is present inside it is not harmful. It is a friendly microbes. Okay, so it doesn't harm us. So lactobacillus, it is a friendly bacteria, as I said, and it treats and prevents diarrhea. Now forget about the harmful microbe right now. It helps us. This microbe help us to treat and prevent diarrhea. If you are suffering from diarrhea, so it is you are advised to eat the yogurt or the curd, which treat the problem of diarrhea. It also help in food breakdown. It help in indirect way in the process of digestion. What happen in digestion? The complex food breakdown into simplest form. So this bacteria also plays an important role in the process of food breakdown. It also help in absorption of nutrients. So now let us see how exactly the process of curdling take place, and that is conversion of milk into curd. This process is called curdling. So how this process actually happens? Now, have you ever seen our mother or yourself try to prepare a curd? If not, then you can try it at your home. What you need is, you need a milk, a little bit of a curd, maybe a 1 teaspoon of curd. Okay. So what you have to do is take a bowl, put some milk in that bowl. Now it should not be boiling hot and it should not be freezing as well. It should be little warm, like a lukewarm. And you add a small amount of curd into that milk, and then you leave it for overnight. So next morning when you see it has a transformed into curd. So basically the small amount of curd is able to convert a bowl of milk into a bowl of curd. So what exactly happens? As I said, this spoon of curd, even though it is very small amount, but it also contain a bacteria, lactobacillus. So what this lactobacillus does, that we have to concentrate it. Now even though the amount of curd which is added is very small, but this small amount of curd contains millions of lactobacillus. And what do these lactobacillus do? They convert sugar into lactic acid. And where are sugar present? So here you have milk, and milk contains sugar called, what is the sugar? Which is called lactose. So milk contains lactose sugar. So word lacto is related to milk. That means the sugar that is present in it is lactose. It convert lactose into lactic acid. This bacteria convert lactose into lactic acid. Now what happened? Lactic acid when formed, this lactic acid coagulate and digest the milk protein. Now there is a milk protein. Protein get destroyed, means alter, because of the formation of lactic acid. Now what happens? This lactic acid, due to the formation of acid, it imparts a sour taste to a curd. That is why there is a big difference between the taste of milk and the curd. Curd is sour in taste, but when we taste milk, it is sweet, right? So you can say that milk is a kind of sweet, and curd is sour due to the presence of acid. So when you convert this, lactobacillus play a very important role. So it is extremely important to add a small amount of curd. As long as you do not add, the curd will not be formed. So what happens is, at suitable temperature, lactobacillus bacteria grow. As soon as it grow and multiply of its own, coagulation of protein takes place, and the milk protein, they start coagulate, and therefore nutritional quantity also improve. If you compare the nutritional quality of milk and curd, you will see that in curd the content of vitamin B12 is much more than that of milk. So all these changes happens, and who is responsible for the entire change? Lactobacillus. Understood? And it is a bacteria. So who is responsible for changing milk into curd is lactobacillus. Now let us see that how microbes help in baking industry. If you take some maida, that is flour, and you add, normally the way you do, you try to prepare a dough. All you do is just add a small amount of yeast to that dough. So that this is how you prepare, and leave it for a couple of hours, maybe some 2 to 3 hours, and after that you will see that the dough is actually rises. So what helps the dough get fluffy, and what is the rising agent? So this rising agent is yeast. And what is yeast? Yeast is an example of fungi. So basically microorganisms help you to act as a rising agent, and that's how it make a lot of items. So here we see yeast is an raising agent in baking. Without a raising agent, let's see, when you prepare a cake or when you look at the bread, it is a fluffy. It's inside, it is not very solid. The gaps are created in it. So in order to make that fluffy, you need a raising agent, and that is yeast. And that's how your cake, muffins, or all these bakery items made. So most common yeast which is used for baking purposes is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So it is most commonly used yeast. Now how yeast help us in baking? Now what yeast does, it convert the carbohydrate in the dough into carbon dioxide. So this is the conversion that takes place. So carbohydrate is present in the dough because the dough is flour. For flour has carbohydrate. So this carbohydrate, that converted into carbon dioxide. Now what happens due to the formation of carbon dioxide? The dough expand and the dough rise, and it forms bubbles. Carbon dioxide is a gas. It forms bubbles. That is why you will see that when you leave the flour for a couple of time, it is raised, and also there is a bubble like structure which is formed due to the formation of carbon dioxide. Now once the dough is baked, for example, if you prepare the dough and leave it for some time, then you bake it. Once you have baked, what happens is to the yeast, because yeast is a living organism, the yeast dies. Now what is the result? The result is that the dough is already, once it is baked, it becomes very soft and spongy, and the yeast dies, and yeast kind of sacrifice to make a cake for you. Okay, so soft and spongy baked product is formed. Now many a time if you look at the recipe of any baking item, you will see that most of them use egg and sugar. Okay, because these substances accelerate the growth of yeast. So you have more amount of yeast and you get more fluffier cake. So baking is that means you have more yeast. Okay. So in bread making also similar thing happen. That means aerobic respiration takes place, that in presence of oxygen. So they utilize oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Due to the formation of carbon dioxide and water form, because of the formation of carbon dioxide, the dough become fluffy. For now you understand that yeast convert the oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and this is called aerobic respiration. Now this carbon dioxide rise the dough, okay, or it help to expand the dough or bubble formation. Okay, and after that the yeast dies and it make the product soft and spongy. Now let us look at the dough making process of various other products like idli and dosa. So how do you prepare? For this also you would have seen that your mother prepare dough and leave it for a couple of hours or for a night. So in this case also there is a bacteria called lactic acid bacteria which ferment the idli or dosa batter, because in this batter you do not use any yeast. Whether you use any curd, so curd has a lactobacillus bacteria also. So what is being used here, the microorganism which is used here is lactobacillus or a lactic acid bacteria. And so for this you need a specific type of pulse that is called urad seeds. So this lactic acid bacteria is naturally present in urad seed. So that is why you need a specific type of dal to prepare the idli or dosa. Okay, and you leave the batter for quite some time, then this bacteria will lead to the formation of carbon dioxide, and this process is called fermentation, and it happen in the absence of oxygen, and the result is that CO2 is formed along with lactic acid. So CO2 and lactic acid will be formed, and due to the formation of lactic acid it gives this sour taste. Now microbes in industrial products, and now as I had mentioned before that there are quite few things in terms of which have a commercial purpose. So here also the microbes play an important role, like some of them are antibiotics, beverages. Antibiotics, they are extremely helpful because they help to cure so many diseases. Beverages, again, a lot of different types of beverages like wine, beer, whiskey. Preparing all those, it also play the role of microbe play an important role here also. So first we will discuss about the antibiotics. Now the doctor gives you the course of antibiotics or a set of medicines for which you have to follow for 3 to 4 days if you have any problem, if you have any disease. Okay, so if the doctor has asked you to have the medicine for 3 days, then you have to follow that. So if you look at the word antibiotics, what does it mean? Anti means against. Anti means against, and biotics, bio means something related to life. So the word against life, that means which it means the opposite. Doesn't mean that it means against bacteria, against the living organism which causes diseases. So that way it is against life. Life here, life doesn't mean our life. It is about against bacteria. So this is a chemical substances which is produced by the microbes and that kill disease causing microbes. Okay. So antibiotics are the best example where you can see the both positive and negative side of the microbes. Okay. So that these are also produced by the microbes and they kill the disease causing microbes. So that means the good microbes kill the bad microbes. So that's how the antibiotics are. So they treat bacterial infection. Now antibiotics are very specific. They will only treat the infection which is caused by the bacteria. So it is not useful against viral infection. So you would have observed that when you get a fever, you do some sort of bacterial infection you have, that is the throat infection or some other infection caused by the bacteria, and that time the doctor prescribe you a course of antibiotics. But if you get a viral infection, you got a viral cold or a flu, the doctors will not provide you antibiotics to you. So this antibiotics is discovered by the Alexander Fleming scientist. In fact, you would surprised to know that he discovered the antibiotic by chance. He was not performing any experiment. He was doing some sort of experiment where he accidentally invented this antibiotic, discovered this antibiotic called penicillin. So penicillin was the first antibiotics. Now any discovery which happened by chance is known as serendipity. So one example of serendipity is the discovery of penicillin. Discovery by chance. So you're not performing any experiment, but by chance you discovered it. So that is serendipity. So now we have spoken a lot about good microscope. It is time to talk about harmful microorganisms which causes diseases and harm us. But not now. I will discuss this topic in my next video. Okay. I will discuss about the harmful microscope in the next video. Thank you, students.